Thank you, Mr Deputy President. Tonight I want to very briefly but very sincerely pay tribute to all those who assisted selflessly during Cyclone Debbie that ravaged parts of North Queensland in the past few days, and those who are still assisting in its aftermath. I can't mention them all by name individually, as it would be impossible to do so, because there are so many, and many who helped in their own quiet way will never be publicly identified. To all the emergency workers, the police, the fire rescue, SES, council workforces, meteorologists, local radio presenters, neighbours, community groups, and those other countless helpers who did so much in their own way to help, we owe you a real debt. It makes you proud to be an Australian to see the volunteers and those working beyond the call of duty to try to help with natural calamities that are unpredictable and unstoppable. Many people put their own personal safety and even their lives at risk to help others. On my way driving from Ayr to Townsville Airport this morning to come back to Canberra, I was overwhelmed by the number of police, emergency, SES, fire rescue vehicles heading south, particularly at the constant stream of tradies, utes and four-wheel drives, with trailers, ladders, mobile workshops, any range of doors, gates and the like, and generators, all heading south to help out. I know from Yassi the reassurance of seeing army convoys and helicopters heading into affected areas. To know that the Defence Forces are on the way is a real reassurance to those whose stress levels and equilibrium have been imbalanced by the events of the past 48 hours. In Ayr, where I live, where the cyclone was originally tracking, we were very lucky. But I do want to thank and acknowledge all those friends and relatives and Facebook friends, many of whom I've never personally met, who sent messages of support, including, I'm proud to say, almost every one of my coalition colleagues in this chamber and the Prime Minister. And believe me, in times of terror, it does help to know that others are thinking of you. In Ayr we missed it, thankfully, but I do feel for those friends and the residents of Bowen and Airlie Beach and Proserpine and Mackay who have borne the brunt of Cyclone Debbie. Having lived through a couple of cyclones in my lifetime, I can attest to the absolute terror one feels for oneself and loved ones as the gale-force winds increase, the howling of wind and rain and flying debris escalates to a nerve-wracking crescendo, buffeting one's home as you huddle terrified, usually in a blacked-out room, almost defenceless, waiting and hoping and praying. Unlike other calamities, cyclones are entirely unpredictable and unstoppable. There's nothing you can do but try to stay safe with your loved ones and pray. And Debbie was worse than many in that it was so slow-moving, meaning that the increasing terror was drawn out like some form of heinous torture. Cyclones are one small detriment of living in the north, in God's own country, I might say, and I know that the resilience of the people will shine through, as always, and that things will be back to normal quickly. The natural beauty of the north will quickly recuperate, and tourists will again be shortly enjoying one of the seventh and indeed eighth wonders of the world with the reef and the rainforests. The mines will crank up again, commerce will get back to normal, the farmers will harvest, and all of the wonderful services we have in the north will be business as usual. But we do feel for those who've lost homes and businesses, other property, farmers in Proserpine and Mackay particularly who will have lost crops, tourist places that will suffer not only from the damage but from overinflated bad news. But the Commonwealth and Queensland governments will help there. Insurance companies and banks will also be doing their bit. But, Mr Deputy President, tonight I want to, and I think it's important that we do acknowledge all of those who have helped. And if you are one of those thousands who will never be named individually, but whose main preoccupation in the last few days was helping others, please accept this on behalf perhaps of all Australians as our thanks and our grateful acknowledgement for what you have done.